Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight,
the 18 survivors of that Haitian sloop tragedy charged in court.
The Christian Council president backs a move to deport those Haitians who survived the Abaco boat tragedy.
A high school student in police custody after stabbing another student.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Former Prime Minister Perry Christie and his wife Bernadette were among members of the Progressive Liberal Party gathered at the Magistrates Court this afternoon as several Grand Bahamians and an Asubian who PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell said our PLP supporters were expected to be arraigned. We understand one of the Grand Bahamians who worked prominently in the former administration was arrested at her home in Grand Bahama this morning. They were reportedly flown from Grand Bahama and police alerted media to their arrival. However, no charges were brought as prosecutors reportedly sought to amend dockets. Former Grand Bahama Urban Renewal official Michelle Reckley was among those escorted into court by police. No arraignment took place today. We are told it is expected to occur tomorrow. Meantime, Reckley and others were reportedly taken to Cable Beach Police Station. The PLP preempting any charges with accusations of slave shaming and politically driven prosecution. In a statement earlier today, Mitchell again called for Minister of Health Dr. Dwayne Sands, Minister of National Security Marvin Dames, and Attorney General Carl Bethel to resign following the acquittal of former Public Hospitals Authority Chairman and PLP Senator Frank Smith on corruption charges earlier this month. Again, police called the media to court to document a planned arraignment that was supposed to happen at 4:15 this afternoon. That didn't happen, but we understand the court arraignment is supposed to occur tomorrow. In other news, 2 days after a heartbreaking service to remember 22 Haitian nationals killed in last week's sloop tragedy, the 18 survivors had their day in court.
26-year-old Eleanor Presnell of St. Louis de Nord, Haiti, trips as she tries to step up on the bus, waiting to transport her and the 17 other Haitian migrants to the Department of Immigration following their arraignment in the Magistrates Court. All 18 were charged with one count of illegal landing. It is believed that on Saturday, February 2nd, the migrants were found in the vicinity of Guanaqui, Abaco, after having landed from a place outside of the Bahamas without leave of an immigration officer. But despite being charged in court, these were the lucky ones who survived that deadly Haitian sloop tragedy that left dozens dead, including women and children. Many of them died in the hull of the sloop, trapped with no way out. In court, the 18 survivors, with the help of a translator, all pleaded guilty before Magistrate Kara Turnquist. In t-shirts, shorts, and many dragging slippers, they lined off waiting to hear their fate, many of them with visible wounds about the body, some in their head. Presnell, the lone female, limped her way in and out of court, her foot visibly swollen. She apologized to the magistrate and said she would like to go home because she says she has her family and children to take care of. But after the migrants pleaded guilty, the magistrate said she wouldn't waste the court's time and handed them over to the Bahamas Department of Immigration. Their arraignment comes 2 days after 22 of their countrymen were buried in a funeral service never before seen in the Bahamas. The 18 are expected to be deported to their home country of Haiti. To date, the captain of the doomed vessel has not been identified.
Well, President of the Bahamas Christian Council, Bishop DELTON Fernander, today insisting hardship does not justify illegal immigration. Fernander made the comments as he was responding to recent calls for leniency for those migrants who survived the Abaco boating just over a week ago. Fernander says at the end of the day, the law of the land must prevail. Jasmine Brown has more.
As he backed the move, he explained it is vital for the country's laws to be followed.
During a funeral service for some of the victims on Sunday, there were claims that the Bahamian government would not repatriate their survivors because they had been through enough. However, on Monday, Foreign Affairs Minister Darren Henfield insisted they would be repatriated. The Christian Council president says while he hears the calls for sympathy, the fact is letting anyone who enters the country illegally off the hook sets a bad precedent.
I hear that, and really, as a pastor, I feel their pain, but we have to enforce the law. And when we start making loopholes in law and exceptions, we end up with the court cases we're dealing with right now, which makes that precedent. So if we do it for one, who says other nationalities won't say, well, you did it for that nationality, why not do it across the board. And so it's just being careful as a nation that we don't set unintended precedent that cannot be taken back.
Fernander's comments came the same day those Haitian migrants were charged and pleaded guilty to entering the country illegally. The sloop carrying the Haitian migrants ran aground on Saturday, February 2nd, in waters off Manowar Key, Abaco. 31 bodies were recovered. 22 of them were buried in the Southern Cemetery on Calpin Road on Sunday. Fernander gave remarks at the funeral on Sunday, but he says while he sympathizes with them, anyone who breaks the law must suffer the consequences.
He said at the funeral, the laws have to be enforced. Unfortunately, they risked their lives and their brothers and sisters died, but it is the nature of the law that if you come in illegally, you will be deported. It is tragedy for them. I'm sure it's been a traumatic experience, but the law is the law.
He added that if the Bahamas truly wants to stem the tide of illegal Haitian migrants entering the country, it must assist in getting the impoverished nation's economy back on track.
The reason why it's happening is because systematically Caribbean nations have been challenged. First we're celebrating 400 years of the transatlantic slavery, but there's an economic slavery taking place that has destroyed Haiti's economy.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thank you, Jasmine. Well, following a bloody weekend, the National Security Minister said the solution for crime will not come overnight. With more on this, here's Jolene Gray.
Following 4 separate murders over the weekend, the National Security Minister said he expects more. Noting that no country will be homicide-free, Marvin Dame said authorities can only work to reduce the number of lives lost.
Our goal is to reduce the level of homicides that we're seeing. And as I said already, the police the number of homicides last year compared to this year are down significantly. It's still early, and we're not getting caught up in figures, because one life is a life too many.
On Saturday, a man was shot in a Haitian village off Cowpen Road. Less than 24 hours later, 3 separate shooting incidents left 3 more men dead. Despite this recent spree of killings, Dame said crime is still down. He heralded the work of officers. Noting that crime has been a long-standing issue for successive governments, Dame said the solution will not come overnight, as the problem developed over decades. He then charged the country to work with the police, as he says it's everyone's job to help fight crime.
We introduced the ministry's advisory team on crime, led by Dr. David Allen. And we will be working very closely with communities and carrying out evidence-based work to determine, what are some of the additional measures that we need to employ. This is more than a police issue.
Stiffer penalties could be on the way for club owners, as James said they too have a responsibility in these cases.
If you have a club, you're supposed to be closed at 2 in the morning, you're still open, people are meandering about, fighting, and then someone pulls the gun out. What's the responsibility of the owner? There have been situations where people would have left. Tell the guy, I'm coming back for you. Left in front of the club owners. No one calls the police. When they call the police? After the person returns, shoots the guy and up. So it's all about us understanding our roles and responsibilities.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jillian Gray.
A 17-year-old student has been taken into custody after he stabbed another student about the body on the school's campus. According to police reports, the incident took place shortly after 11 a.m. on Monday. Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd said the school's administration, police, and parents are reviewing the matter.
The student has been receiving medical treatment, and the matter is now under investigation, active investigation. I am awaiting a report so that we can determine what actions need to be taken. I want to emphasize that our schools are safe for our students and our teachers. I want to emphasize that wherever incidences of violence or threats of violence occur, those are immediately addressed, confronted, and resolved, so that, again, we provide the safest environment for those who need to be on the campuses.
Now, this incident follows an altercation between a teacher and a student at CV Bethel just a few weeks ago. Lloyd said they have gotten the report from the police and are now charting a course of action forward in that matter.
The police has now given a report that we are reviewing, along with the reports that we received from the principal and the particular students. The teacher involved has refused, upon advice, to give report, as I said to you last week, However, we are taking whatever actions we need to take in order to address that situation. Again, it's about safe schools.
Still to come, the latest on those scabies cases at Civil Strong Primary, plus why teachers at C.W. Sawyer called in sick. Stay tuned.